There are so many action webtoons out there, like seriously, and I've read hundreds of them. In this video, I'll recommend my top 100. But before we move on to the list, I'd like to explain this video's scope. This will help you guys understand why certain titles aren't showing up. First is that they should be in webtoon format. Webtoons are comics that are designed to be read by scrolling the pages using your phone. Next is that they should be available in official English platforms as of July 2022. I've considered all of those in Line Webtoon, Tapas, Tappytoon, Lezhin, Manta, and Copin Comics. They are considered in a sense that I've read at least one chapter of every single action webtoon in those platforms. While from Bilibili, Pocket Comics, Toomics, VoiceMe, Webnovel, and Manga Toon, I only picked from a selection. I only considered titles which caught my eye somehow, then skip the rest. There's just too many from those platforms, so if there was actually a promising series from them that I missed somehow, do let me know. Anyway, the titles considered should officially be tagged under the action genre. So, for example, although these titles clearly have action among their main themes, I couldn't include them since they don't show up when you click the action tag. But if another platform tagged it as action, it will be counted. Like this series, for instance, it doesn't show up when I look through the webtoons under the action genre in Tapas, but it showed up among the action comics in Manga Toon. So, okay, there is one exception to this rule. I'll explain when I feature it later. I know there are quite a number of LGBTQ plus romance, especially boys love, that have action scenes too. But I think it will be better for them to be featured in another video. Maybe I'll create one someday. Depends on my mood and the demand. So just let me know if you're interested. And like any other recommendation list, my top 100 will of course be based on personal preference. I hope you won't feel bad if your favorite is not among my current favorites. But don't worry, I won't love you any less just because of that. Difference in opinions is totally fine. But if ever we have very similar tastes, then that's awesome. Lastly, I'll only share titles in which I have read around 10 chapters at least. I've managed to exclude a lot of titles because of this rule. Admittedly, I haven't read the latest chapter of some titles. Okay, on most titles. There are even completed titles which I haven't finished yet. This is the biggest reason why rankings could still change because it highly depends on the latest chapter I've managed to read. Now, since we're talking about action webtoons, I thought of classifying them into ranks and classes. These ranks are grouped into four classes: top, high, middle, and low. I dropped titles which are in low class. Those in middle class are kinda complicated. Anyway, there's enough from C rank and above for the top 100. I'll be explaining each rank as we go along. But please note that titles in each group are going to be listed in alphabetical order. Yes, I'd like to be spared from the torture of choosing which ones I like more than the other. How much I like a series keep on changing anyway. Only my number one has been consistent so far. Without further ado, let's move on to the list. Starting with C rank. C rank titles are those which I enjoyed reading, but not enough to want to read every single chapter. Not anytime soon, at least. To be honest, I think I will be satisfied already with just spoilers. But of course, I may change my mind later. I may have a huge love for certain characters or pairs on some titles in this rank, but at the moment not yet strong enough to make me keep reading. It's weird for me, I know, but you might find them enjoyable too, so I still recommend them. Anyway, at present there are 40 titles under this group, which would refer to top 100 to 61. They are going to be further subdivided by platform. Music, please!
What? The greatest manhwa of all time is not in the top 10? Boo-hoo!
Sorry, not sorry. Don't get me wrong, I like solo leveling, but after the Jeju Island arc, only Beru made me keep on reading this webtoon. So, there. We're now finally among the high class ranks. Alright. We'll start with B ranks. B rank titles are page turners for me once I resume reading. But they are also pretty easy to put on hold, especially compared to those in higher ranks. I'm not saying that they are better than those in lower ranks, but these give me less headaches at least. The major factor stopping them from going to a higher rank is because I have no particular favorite character or pair. So, in other words, I like them and I think they're pretty good, but I have no strong emotional attachment. Well, at least so far. It might be different in your case. It will be a waste if you miss them if it's something you would like to. So, of course, I recommend them. Anyway, let's now check out these 30 B rank titles which correspond to top 60 to 31. Now start the music! Now, for the A rank titles, they are pretty much the same as the B rank ones, but I just love them much, much more. Or rather, I adore them a whole lot more. It's primarily because there's now a pretty strong emotional attachment to the A ranks, or they have at least entertained or impressed me way more compared to the B rank titles. But my love for them hasn't reached S rank yet. I'll explain further once we reach that group. But A rank titles are among my favorites already, so of course I highly recommend them. So without further ado, here are 20 of my favorites under the A rank group. It's now time for top 30 to 11. Let's rock and roll! my god, this is it. It's the top class. They are like my treasures, my precious. I love them so much. I find them very impressive and addicting at the same time. It's possible that they might become disappointing sometime in the future, especially if it's an ongoing series. But most probably, I wouldn't care since they already have a special place in my heart. Anyway, we're now at top 10 territory, but S ranks shall only cover top 10 to 6. Unlike the previous ranks though, I'll talk about them a bit. But as usual, they are going to be in alphabetical order, starting with number 10, Elicid. One of the best portrayal of wholesome and solid friendship without winning battles through the typical power of friendship trope. It has one of the best teacher-student duos in Webtoon history too. Not to mention, it's freaking entertaining. Even if you don't like cats much, it might help awaken the cat lover in you. Number 9, Lout of Counts Family. If you love the kingdom building types, this is among the impressive ones. But if you're the type who prefers action most of the time, try to endure its first season a bit. And later, you will be rewarded handsomely as it is more amazing than it appears. And you'll also have so much fun with the main character's epic fail attempts in achieving his dream slacker life. Number 8, No Scope. It's a charming coming-of-age story that gives you an insight of modern professional gaming. You don't have to be a gamer to appreciate this series. Well, it's even more relatable compared to most virtual reality webtoons out there anyway. Number 7, The Boxer. If you're a fan of side characters, well-written side characters in particular, then this webtoon is among those who do them justice. This webtoon is also predictable and unpredictable at the same time. It's crazy, it's mind-blowing. Even non-boxing fans can be at the edge of their seat while watching the fights in each round. Number 6, Tower of God. The art style in Season 1 is admittedly not very attractive, but try to endure it in order not to miss such an epic story. This series is well known for its amazing world building. The first season is just a prologue of how fantastic it is. There's an anime adaptation of this, by the way, with prettier art. Whether you like that or not, the story in the webtoon is much better. We're now finally with the top 5! SS rank titles are actually pretty much the same as those in S rank. Except, I love the SS rank titles a bit more. But that little bit is powerful enough to make me quite tempted to spend money on. In other words, there are higher chances for me to buy official merchandise of titles under SS rank compared to those in S rank or lower. Naturally, much more if it's God rank. That's like my ultimate favorite among the ultimate ultimates. Of course, I'd rather buy all available merchandise, whether official or fan-made. But if I do that, I'll be broke. So, I'll just be doing that in my dreams. Anyway, titles in top class, in other words, are the webtoons which I believe are worth sacrificing for. I say goodbye to some of my savings to support my top treasures somehow. Most of them are underrated or unpopular, you see. So, they need more love and support than ever. I have actually created at least one video for each of them to promote them somehow. Gotta spread the love. So, here we go with the top 5. Starting with number 5, Boss. Boss is the exception I was talking about earlier when I was explaining the video scope. I don't know why Pocket Comics tagged it as just drama. Even the plot is incorrect. It's actually an action comedy series about mafia groups in historical New York. The main character here appears to be an incompetent boss, but he turned out to be the leader that the other characters never expected they needed. Number 4, Immortal Days. There's full of action and danger in this futuristic world with technology so advanced that humanity has discovered immortality. Or maybe, instead of humans, they have become more like zombies. There's quite a lot of philosophical themes in this series. Anyway, there's so much madness in this webtoon. The characters are such entertaining psychos. And if you're a dog lover, even higher chances that you will end up adoring this series. Number 3, My S-Class Hunters. There are gazillions of webtoons involving hunters and dungeons, but there's no other action webtoon that brought so much value to people who raised others. They don't necessarily have to be our parents or relatives. Our nurturers and caregivers could be anyone, and they are just as important as family. It's such a fantastic series with overpowered characters who rely on the support of the weakest character. Number 2, Taste It. It's one of the best post-apocalyptic sci-fi zombie series out there. It also has one of the most decent and wholesome romances in action webtoons in general. Well, in my opinion at least. The main characters may have been the teenagers, but it's the two adults who really run the show. Full of mystery and intrigue, and the art style is so unique and breathtaking. All SS rank titles I've mentioned have interesting, wacky, and charming characters. There isn't too much focus on the main character because the awesome side characters get their moments to shine as well. There are lots of fun character dynamics, and it's so satisfying to see them interact and have their relationships developed in a wholesome manner. Of course, storytelling, execution, and pacing don't fall behind. They are creative, thought-provoking, entertaining, and well-written. Oh my gosh! Of course, all of those things are also applicable to my number 1! Number 1 is the one and only God rank right now. And maybe till forever. Those who are familiar with my channel will most likely know about it already. Of course, it's none other than Omniscient Reader. It's the best. If you have read it, then you understand why. If you haven't read it yet, go read so that you will understand why. Enough said. I cannot start praising it or else I might not finish this video. Alright, I hope the top 100 wasn't too overwhelming. If ever I seem to have missed something, most probably it was out of scope or happened to be under low class or I simply forgot or I just missed. I tend to look into and appreciate unpopular titles, so I am pretty confident that you haven't heard of some of the titles I mentioned. With that, I hope I had helped you discover new favorite. If you already know most of the titles I have mentioned, most probably the Action Webtoon Challenge series I did back then will be easy for you, right? As always, likes, shares, and comments will be highly appreciated. Please subscribe for more videos like this. Thanks for watching and hope to see you again. Take care!